And
Hey, Daddy, this is the man of the champions, Bill Fonzie Alfonso, giving a shout out to
Something else.
something else, Daddy.
This is Nicole Matano, Great Warrior Wolf, and you are listening to Something Else.
I'm Tony Cini, and you're listening to Something Else.
Hey everybody, it's Rich Palladino, the voice of New England, and you are listening to Something Else with Arya.
welcome to episode number 229 of Something Else. Feast your hair holes in this week's episode. We take a look at Mid-South and World Class Championship Wrestling from September 15th, 1984. My name is Arya, and joining me, as always, I don't know, is the Brickhouse Brown to my a different black guy. It's Trae. Trae, how the hell you doing today?
I'm just glad you didn't call me Outhouse Brown.
See, I was being nice here.
Butch Reed wasn't being nice at all.
No, Butch Reed is not a very nice man. You know,
He got learned a lesson, though.
yes, and we'll get to that. But in a weird way, I think this is the start of his babyface turn, which
Maybe.
in many
Maybe.
makes absolutely no sense. But the rest of the show made me think, okay, we are officially on the road to Butch Reed as a babyface.
Yeah.
But before we dive into some really old school wrestling, let's talk about some kind of old school wrestling. My second book is officially available for pre-order, Trae.
Oh, wow.
Yes, 40 Years of Pay-Per-View, Book 2, 1991 through 1993, is officially available for pre-order right now. The last time I checked, it's only available for pre-order through Kindle and Kindle Unlimited, but the plan is for before this book officially becomes released next Tuesday, October 1st, it will also be available on paperback as well. So you can go out there and procure your book right now, buy it now, read it next Tuesday when everyone else gets a chance to, and enjoy it, love it. And again, book 3 is going to be out much quicker than book 2 was. It took 11 months to get book 2 out. I got to say, it was a lot longer than I was planning.
A book in 11 months is still pretty impressive.
Very true. And, again, I'm not getting rich off this. I know Brian and RD did not get rich off the death of WCW, but I guarantee, at least I hope, they both made more money off their book than I made off mine. But, I enjoyed writing it, and I hope you all enjoy reading it. And as I said last time, if you think I'm the worst writer in the world, do me a favor, get it on Kindle Unlimited, start on page 1, flip all the way to the end, and then just return it because I get paid per page read. So, there you go. Yes.
You're not the worst writer ever.
Thank you. Thank you. I may be no Sean Ross Sapp, but I'm not the worst reporter in the world ever.
Are you a reporter? Do we report anything? I guess we break news on here all the time.
I don't know. I'm an Observer Hall of Fame voter, so I think I count.
Shut the fuck up.
Although I guess I don't know which category I'm under. I'm either a reporter or a historian.
Shut up.
All right. So, where are you on your catch up for modern day pro wrestling?
Just watched the semifinals of the G1.
Okay. Have you seen or heard that John Cena and Edge have paid tribute to each other in recent matches?
No, I did not.
Yes, well, John Cena did the Edge setup for the spear, I think on SmackDown, maybe, because I don't think he did it at the pay-per-view. And I think Corky said it was a tribute to Roman Reigns, or maybe Cole said it was Roman Reigns, and Corky said it was somebody else. And then Edge on the pay-per-view did the John Cena five knuckle shuffle. And then he also did
That's
the
great.
FU. Yes.
That's great. Man, look, these wrestlers don't give a fuck about your dumb tribalism. Like those
Yes.
guys like love each other because they fucking did big shit together. That's the way wrestling is.
How dare people be friends? It's like we talked about this a few weeks ago. Sasha Banks and Bayley on the anniversary of their NXT Takeover Brooklyn match did an Instagram live together, and people were losing their shit because how dare these two people who work for different companies but are really good friends be friends still.
So if I leave the territory and go to another podcast, we can't be friends anymore.
Well, I'll bury the fuck out of you, but sure, we can still be friends.
Are you gonna bury me as bad as Watts buried Dog?
I will keep talking about you for 6 weeks afterwards. I will bring
I
in a I will bring in
how
another white guy to replace you.
how long has this been now? I could not believe that he like doubled down on it this week. Like this seemed like the fuck Junkyard Dog show.
This is, I think, this is 5 weeks because this is, it was two TV tapings ago, I believe. It's funny
Uh,
because like I always heard the story about how Watts buried Dog on the way out, and then we saw the first week, and it's like that wasn't that bad. Like it was bad-ish, but it wasn't that bad. And then it's like every week it's been a little bit more and a little bit more. I'm like, okay, Bill, I get it,
the
but
more
come on.
the more he thought about it, the more upset he got.
Yeah. And it's funny because, and I know Dog was a top guy, but he is not the first person to leave this territory. He's not the first person to leave this territory for New York. But Jesus Christ, he's taking this one personally.
He took that personally, yes.
Yes. Oh Lord, I think and I think it was on this show. Didn't he talk about like Iron Sheik and Paul Orndorff were in the territory at some point, and Nikolai Volkov, and they're all in New York now. He didn't bury them, but sure enough, he buried the fuck out of Dog.
He sure
Ah,
did. He sure did.
well, why wait? Let's go to the intro of the show with Bill and our returning Boyd Pierce.
Hi, wrestling fans. Cowboy Bill Watts here, and it's certainly glad to have Boyd Pierce back with us. And Boyd, we all tried to share your tragedy with you, but you know one thing, being Christians, and your mother was a Christian, I know you're a Christian, that we know that she's in a better place, but it's sure glad to have you back.
Thank you, Bill, and like I've said many times, Mid-South Wrestling fans are true blue people, and they proved it during this time of bereavement with their showers of cards and thoughts, and we thank you so very much. Right now, we're back at Mid-South Wrestling, and as always, an hour of exciting action. And to tell you about it, the things to come and what we'll be viewing today is the president of Mid-South Sports, Cowboy Bill Watts. Bill.
Well, Boyd, I'm a little bit embarrassed about what I have to talk about right now, because last week when you were gone, something happened that was one of the most despicable things I've ever witnessed. We had a signing for the Mid-South Tag Team titles. It was an unusual match. The stipulations were to be the match was no disqualification, there could be no substitutions, and if there was a no-show situation by either team, it would be declared a forfeit. And Jim Cornette had the Midnight Express in the ring, and Grizzly Smith was in the ring, and Jim Ross was in the ring, and the Fantastics. And when the signing was completed, there was an attack, a dastardly attack, on the Fantastics, where Bobby Eaton used a steel chair, which is in violation of our rules. And we referred it to the board of directors. I flew to Tampa for a meeting, and we recommended a very severe and heavy fine. But of course, Cornette, you know, there was a time in America when everything was black and white, right or wrong. And now it seems like everything's a gray area. It's clouded. And you have litigation, and you have lawyers, and you have problems. And that's the same thing we're faced with right now. So we're going to go back and discuss the issue, but there are some problems that the fine has not been levied at this time. But let's watch, as you all saw last week, just what we saw at the board of directors meeting with his signing in the ring.
Okay, I don't know what I want Boyd to say, but it's like Bill Watts is like, "Hey, and here's Boyd Pierce," and Boyd's like, "Thank you, Bill. Here's Bill Watts."
Yeah. What
Poor guy. Yeah.
what was this time in history that Watts is imagining? Like whenever somebody says that shit, I just assume that they mean they miss segregation. Like, I can't, there's no other explanation. Like,
Well,
what else
more
do
or
you
less,
miss?
it's like imagine, go find Bill Watts and ask him what his thoughts are on the LGBT community and the trans community and all that stuff, and he's gonna yammer on and on about an hour about how men are men and women are women and yada yada yada. It's like basically, you know, that's I guarantee maybe not that, but like he wants the good old days of a simpler time when everyone shut their mouths and just accepted whatever shitty role they had.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. They
Mhm.
want they, they
And we'll
want
get to it
different
in a minute.
people to not have voices.
Yeah, we'll get to it here in a minute. But Jim Cornette has a point. He
Jim
should
Cornette
not
had a
be
lot of
fined.
points. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
That the idea that they tried to find him was bullshit.
Yeah. And he's gotten a lawyer involved to prevent the fine. I always love, and I gotta ask, and I guess I didn't really pay that close attention to what Watts actually said, but I love people from the South how they say lawyer instead of lawyer.
I mean, it's a lawyer. He does the law.
He does the loy. Uh, so yeah, they're trying to find the Midnight Express and Jim Cornette, but JC has gotten a lawyer involved. It probably is not Stephen P. New because I mean I don't know how old Stephen P. New is, but I doubt that he's old enough to be a lawyer back in 1984.
Yeah, this was a very long time ago. I was -3.
I was -6 weeks.
Oh, you're closer
Yes.
than I am.
Well, I think we've already acknowledged that one before. Uh, but Bill is embarrassed to talk about this, and if you're that embarrassed, you could have had JR, you could have had your snot-nosed kid do the announcing this week. Um, but no, he had to do it. Anyway, from
Well, he
here we
had
saw the
shit to
replay of the
say.
yeah. We had the replay of the Midnight Express Fantastics angle from last week of the contract signing, where after the contracts were executed, the Midnight Express threw powder in the Fantastics' face, and then they beat the shit out of Bobby and Tommy. We still don't know when the hell this match is actually going to happen, but at some point in theory, it's going to happen. And actually, this was first week of the new tape because Boyd is here. But let's go to Watts, who's going to recap it and then pitch it to Jim Cornette, who's going to make a very logical excuse as to why he should not get fined. And we agree with this.
What happened? But when we got the rule that we had out, it stated, and I'll read you just two portions of 2 paragraphs. Any wrestler or manager or second or valet or bodyguard or accomplice that interferes in an ongoing wrestling bout by bringing a steel chair, a logging chain, a 2x4 board, or a tennis racket inside the ring barricades and strikes one of the contestants with the aforementioned object will be subject to a $10,000 fine. That was a portion of 1 paragraph. A portion of the other is failure to pay said fine upon demand by Mid-South will result in an immediate suspension of all bookings in the Mid-South area at the discretion of Mid-South Sports Incorporated. The accused party has the right of a hearing with the board of directors of Mid-South Sports. This was tried to address each thing specifically to have a rule that we could enforce. Well, let's let you hear now Jim Cornette's comments about this situation.
Oh, it's so easy to make fools out of Mid-South Wrestling's lawyers when my mother's lawyers are so much more competent than their own, because when you have the money to hire the best, you get the best results. I could mention the name John DeLorean, for example. A wink is as good as a nod to a blind man. Now, Mid-South Wrestling, another example of them trying to protect their favorites. They want to find the Midnight Express for the incident that happened with the Fantastics contract signing. Now, number 1, I've read up on your rules, Mid-South. You can't find me because I didn't do anything. Then you can't find beautiful Bobby because he didn't bring the steel chairs in the ring. Mid-South did for the signing, and he didn't hit them while a match was going on. So there's no reason you should be able to find him, but hey, I can pay any fine. But it's the principle of the thing with me. And I demand, and I know my rights, a full hearing before Mid-South Board of Directors to determine what should be done about this thing before I do anything. And I assure you my lawyers will be there, and they will also be filing suit in the immediate future for what happened to me. The reason why I'm wearing this mask right now, I'm going to sue Mid-South for not living up to their aspects of the contract. I'm going to sue Hacksaw Duggan and all the others for assault charges, and then I am going to have my way, because when a Cornette wants something, a Cornette gets it, and a Cornette knows the way to go about it. You should know that by now. As long as I've been around here, I will always, once and for all, definitely have the last word.
You would think with the English language at our command we could cover the intent of any situation, but lawyers seem to be able to muddle that situation up, because Cornette's saying there was no ongoing wrestling match at the time. He was saying they did not bring the steel chairs inside the barricade area. They were already there, and he's also demanding his right for a hearing. We're going to put abeyance on the final decision for this for 2 weeks and have another board of directors meeting, and we hope to get to the bottom of it. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
I just love that the fine is being held in abeyance.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon is somewhere going, yes, it's held in abeyance, damn it.
Watts is so mad that everything Cornette said was true.
Yeah, and it's funny because like I didn't even think about the fact that part of the rules said that who brought it into the ringside area to use. I didn't even think about that. All I focused on was it wasn't a match. There's no fine.
Yeah, me too. Because like as soon as I saw that, I'm like, well, this is bullshit. And if they hadn't shown that, we would have assumed that there wasn't like if you take out that clause, I feel like the wording of the law was intentionally specific.
Yep. And so I mean I'm no lawyer. I don't practice bird law or anything. However, I call bullshit if Cornette gets fined here. And like he said, he can pay it. It's not even a matter of whether or not he could pay it. It's the principle of the matter. He did not violate the rules. The letter of the rules he did not violate.
I should go to law school and specialize in wrestling law, like obscure bylaws and contract signings.
Oh my God, that would be tremendous. I don't know how many jobs you could get specializing in wrestling law, but the papers themselves would be amazing.
Yeah, yes, I agree.
Oh Lord. But yeah, the fine is being held in abeyance for 2 weeks. And it's always funny that we know, but we're not supposed to know Mid-South is taped 2 shows at a time. I mean, I think even though I think like most fans knew that at the time, but it's always funny that like it always is like, oh, in 2 weeks we're gonna do this. In 2 weeks we're gonna do that. I'm like, well, why not next week? Why can't we find out about the fine next week here on Mid-South Wrestling?
You gotta give it time to breathe. You gotta give people to time to calm down. When I was a teacher, I had a rule that I would not talk about grades for 24 hours until after the grades have been returned. Just give people a chance to calm down and think about it.
Chill, everybody, just chill.
Yeah.
All right, so I didn't actually put a timestamp on this, so hopefully it's in this part. Let's go to Bill Watts, who is still a little ornery about his recent top guy leaving the territory.
Without a doubt, there's a new king of the hill in Mid-South Wrestling, a tough man that has to be dealt with. Hacksaw Butch Reed. And of course, JYD, who was for 5 years the ruler in Mid-South. We see him now on cable, on USA Network, out of Ted Turner Station in Atlanta. You see him in a lot of places, but certainly one thing that the astute wrestling fan is sure to pick up is the competition he's facing is not near the calories facing here. And when you're going coast to coast and all over the world, you may have a tough match only once a month. Or when he was here in Mid-South, he had to face Butch Reed coming at him from any angle, at any time, any place, every day of his life, and the pressure cracked him. Let's watch just what happened as Butch Reed got on a quest after JYD.
Okay, so I do think, it was smart of him to kind of throw in that, when you're traveling coast to coast, you may have a tough match once a month because he realizes, as pissed off as he is at Dog right now, A, if Dog came back, he'd take him back. And B, those guys on the WWF television, those guys on Ted Turner's television maybe in his territory soon, and thus he shouldn't be burying them as not being tough wrestlers.
Yeah, it was a certain level of protecting the business.
Yes. And I mean, hey, like I said, he kind of has a point. When you're traveling crisscross across the country constantly, it can be a smidge difficult. You know?
It's just I feel like it's a weird thing to say because like if you I guess back then like nobody thought that anybody like only watched the television. Like I guess they assumed that people were going to the house shows. But if for the sake of argument you only watch the television, like 90% of what you saw would be like enhancement matches. So what
Hmm.
the fuck is Watts talking about?
Well, again, I really should have made some time clips on this, but after the video, because they showed a video of Butch Reed, and it was essentially every angle of the Butch Reed Junkyard Dog story of the last 6 months where Butch Reed got heat on Dog, including that Memphis angle that they did. Uh, we come back to Boyd and Bill, and Boyd with the first line that popped me on this show. Let's go to Boyd and Bill again.
You viewed the pressure put on the Junkyard Dog by Hacksaw Butch Reed. Hacksaw Butch Reed, now the king of the hill, Mr. Beef in professional wrestling, and now the pressure will be applied to Magnum TA, the North American heavyweight champion. Will he be able to retain that title against the king, Hacksaw Butch Reed? Also, the man using the synonym in Brickhouse Brown.
Okay, Mr. Beef.
Mr. Beef?
That is a tremendous name to call another human being. Mr. Beef.
Also, that was the like only mention of Magnum TA this week. And he hasn't been on the show in like I don't know, it feels like a month at least.
Least a month. And we talked about it. It's not like he's elsewhere. He's literally in the territory right now, wrestling at all the live events, but he's not been on television.
I'm gonna start. I'm gonna try to invent a conspiracy theory about something he had to do on Wednesday nights that kept him off of TV for several weeks.
It's possible that he was the person who was supposed to drive Dog to the TV tapings, and when Dog didn't show up, it's TA's fault.
Well, maybe Dog was supposed to drive him to the TV tapings, and that's why he hasn't been here.
Ooh, there you go. And communication is not that great in 1984, at least as good as it is now. TA may not know Dog isn't even in the territory anymore. He may be waiting at his house, waiting for Dog to show up, and well, Dog just hasn't shown up yet, and no one's called him to tell him otherwise.
I hope that he had a phone. I think most people had phones by 1984.
I mean, who knows? Although the geography also doesn't really work out because Dog lived in North Carolina and TA lived in Virginia. But I'm sure there's a way that could work out.
I'm actually thinking of. I have somewhere. I have seen a document. It must be in the Midnight Express scrapbook. I bet it is. Where one of the like rules that Watts was laying out from The Office is like you have to have a fucking working phone or like access to a phone because that's how The Office calls you when you need it somewhere.
Yeah. Also, I want to know so Dog is gone. Dog's left this company like 4 times since we started watching. Where the hell is Stagger Lee at? Stagger Lee always happens to show up once Dog leaves, and Stagger Lee is nowhere to be found.
Oh, they should. They should have. I'm sorry. I'm laughing so hard just thinking about it. They should have found a guy with a similar body type and just put the mask on him and just beat him like powder.
That I didn't even think about that. I was gonna just pretend that it's Stagger Lee.
Just get somebody shaped the right general way and put the mask on him and make him a job guy. That would be hilarious.
Oh Lord, I'd definitely pop on that one. Um, well, up next we were scheduled to have Mr. Beef versus Brickhouse Brown. And before we get into what happened, I got to say I was severely disappointed that JR did not call Butch Reed Mr. Beef. That that
Beef.
that might be our new whatchamacallit, oh my God, what's his fucking name? Glub. That might be our new Glub. His Butch Reed is Mr. Beef.
uh, he's
Uh,
come a long way from Bitch Steed.
yes, he has. All right, so I got to ask you this question, Trey, and
Okay.
I hope to God you're gonna say this. You're gonna agree with me on this one. In the interest of fairness, before I say this, Brickhouse Brown has been on the TV show a couple weeks. They've never really concentrated on Brickhouse Brown. They've never given him promo time. They've never really done a close up. So when Butch Reed is standing in the ring and another black guy stepped into the ring with him, please tell me I was not the only person who thought that it was Brickhouse Brown.
I I knew very quickly that that wasn't Brickhouse Brown. I did not know who it was. I my only thought was that it looks like Officer Moses Hightower from Police Academy.
You didn't watch
Very
WrestleMania 2 recently?
uh no, I have not watched WrestleMania 2 recently, but I bet I have watched WrestleMania 2 since I have watched Police Academy, so I don't know why. I don't know why that was the associate. It was a very tall, like substantially, like thick, muscly, powerful black man, and like this man, I bet he played a little football.
He has. We'll get to that in a second. But let's go to the ring where a different black guy has gotten in the ring with Jim Ross and Mr. Beef.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What are you doing?
See you, sucker, and I'm just time to go.
What are you doing here? What are you doing here?
I'm here to beat Bruce Lee. I'm the big ass man. Who you come in and whoop me, boy? You got to be a fool, sucker.
Wow, Boyd Pierce, this is not an official bout. I don't know what's happening, but there's a stallion out there, and he's got tape all the way up to his elbow, and he's hammering Butch Reed.
Now, Trey, I think well, we may not know everybody who was in the Mid-South locker room on this day. I think we can agree that Tony Atlas was not in the locker room.
Yeah, I would
And
think that was correct.
Trey doesn't get why I said that, does he?
No, I'm sorry. I was just figuring out why you referenced WrestleMania 2. Because I have seen WrestleMania 2 like once or twice, but it's been many years ago. I did not remember what George Wells looked like.
If it helps, it doesn't really look like George Wells. So at least the WrestleMania 2 George Wells. But yeah, that's who this is. It's George Wells, former CFL football player. So he did in fact play a little football. And the reason why I mentioned Tony Atlas is because and we'll hear from him in a second where he'll give us his actual name on the show. But he had his right arm taped from fist to elbow, and there was a famous moment where CM Punk was hanging out in OVW one day, and Tony Atlas showed up and was like, "It looks like you have two broken arms. You're not going to get on TV looking like that." And at that point, Punk was like the ECW champion. Yeah.
Was Tony Atlas also on ECW yet?
No, this was he was showing up to give the wrestlers a lecture about saving your money and not doing your drugs or not doing your drugs, not doing anyone's drugs, uh, and all that shit. And it was like I remember the story at the time because I remember there was a story also that Punk did not talk about that Tony Atlas went to like a Raw house show and him and Carlito bonded over their hatred of CM Punk. Which, speaking of backstage meetings, I gotta see the backstage meeting of Tony Atlas and Carlito bonding over a hatred of CM Punk.
That's tremendous. So I
Yes.
he says in the promo later that he's been in Japan. So like I wanted to look at to see if I could find him being in Japan before this. And I could not, which doesn't mean that he wasn't for some obscure company in Japan. But he did have a New Japan tour in February and March 1987. And dear God, I wish I could see George Wells versus Masahiro Chono, George Wells versus Keiji Muto, George Wells versus Kentaro Hoshino, who I don't know if you know who that is. The tiny there is a pretty famous or maybe it's just one that I circulated heavily, a gif of Hoshino wrestling Elegante that's so ridiculous because Hoshino is like 5'7". And I'm just mad. Oh God, George Wells versus Yoshiaki Fujiwara. That sounds like a lose.
Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. So the different black guy, who we later find out is George Wells, beat on Mr. Beef, busting him open, and we're told that there's nothing that referee Ronnie West can do. And I noted that Ronnie West did not even try to do anything. So how do we know that there was nothing he could do?
He
Um,
he like I would have just left if I was a referee and guys were fighting. Like I don't know. Like if you're not gonna break it up, just get out of the way.
so anyway, after he disposed of Reed, he calmly picked up his green jacket that he carried to the ring. He didn't even wear his green jacket to the ring. He carried his green jacket to the ring, beat up Butch Reed, turned around, picked up his green jacket, and walked away. And then after commercial,
Yeah.
he returned just without the green jacket to talk to JR and to inform us who this man is.
Happened here on Mid-South Wrestling. I feel it's opportune to talk to this man. And obviously, first of all, who are you?
Well, I'm known as Master G. I've been over in Japan, New Zealand, Australia, and for the last 5 years, all I could hear is Mid-South Wrestling, Dick Murdoch, Mid-South Wrestling, the Samoans. You go to the Mid-South Wrestling, you see all kind of great top stars. I was in New York City tonight. I was supposed to wrestle at Madison Square Garden. I turned down a $5,000 contract today to come here and whip a nickel worth of booty. Now, I come here, I'm going to tell you something. Bruce Reed, I talked to Junkyard Dog tonight. You got him scared to come back here. I've been traveling all over the world. I haven't had a chance to come to the United States. This is my first time here in over 10 years, and I come here to build a home. Now, you ran the Junkyard Dog out. That's good. You can't run this dog out. I'm here to stay, and I'm here to whoop a whole lot of behind, and I'm starting with the top dog, and that's Hacksaw Reed, and I'm working my way down. And by the time I get through with this place right here, it's going to be a clean place.
Well, there you hear the comments. He says his name's Master G, and he did. Take care of some serious business with Hacksaw Butch Reed. And now let's go back to the desk and Cowboy Bill Watts.
Oh, Lord. Watts' big plan to get back at JYD is have Master G come out here and say that he was offered $5,000 to go wrestle in Madison Square Garden tonight, but he turned it down so he could be here in Mid-South Wrestling. By the way, I don't know if you went back and looked this up, but you might find this funny. The Madison Square Garden show is September 22nd of 1984. So the day we're actually taping this, not to be confused with the day that the show actually aired.
I know that we've had some conversation about the episode title this week and how you have some ideas that I haven't guessed, but you're also thinking of other ideas. I would like to submit
Mr. Beef.
I would like to submit a nickel worth of booty.
That is a good one here. I think that might be better than Mr. Beef. Oh God. We'll get to my other one. I think the other one's pretty good. We'll have to see. But yeah. So Master G says he talked to Junkyard Dog, who was afraid to come here, and he was scheduled apparently to wrestle at Madison Square Garden today. Among some of the fantastic. Oh my God! Today's actually the September 22nd, 1984 Madison Square Garden show is kind of a famous show because this is when Jesse Ventura ended up in the ER with blood clots in his legs and retired.
Oh,
He was supposed to wrestle Hogan on this show.
wow. So this is funny. Not that. Not Jesse Ventura having blood
It
clots.
it's
So,
hilarious when Jesse Ventura has blood clots.
so I
Go
guess
ahead.
Master G, he did this taping, and then
Hmm.
like he went and did a WWF loop, and then
Yep.
he came
I
back.
I saw that because I was like rolling my eyes, like, and I didn't know his story at the time, but like I was confident. I was pretty freaking confident that this wasn't his first time in the U.S. in 10 years. And sure enough, before this, in the past 10 years, he's been in Northern California, Portland, Mid Atlantic, Kansas City, Atlanta, and the St. Louis territories, all in the last 10 years.
He's a fibbing fibber.
Yes. And he will one day cough up some spittle at WrestleMania 2.
He actually won one of those matches. He lost to Jesse Ventura, lost to Alexis Smirnoff, lost to David Schultz, but beat Pete Marquez. So,
Yes. Well, and that was a tour, go figure, of Northern California. I, that that is actually hilarious that like in the middle of all this, he does a 4-day loop in the WWF.
Oakland, San Diego, Los Angeles, Fresno.
Yeah. And the funny thing is he does end the year back in the WWF. So I don't know about this Mid-South territory. It's a pipeline to New York, I guess. Oh Lord. So we then get a fantastic music video set to "Give Me All Your Lovin'" by ZZ Top.
Mm-hmm.
And then, in
And
case you thought this was a Vince Russo show, we did get some wrestling on this show. 24 minutes and 46 seconds into a 47-minute and 28-second show, we got our first match, the Fantastics versus Dale Vesey and Don Saunders.
yeah, it's okay. So like Dale Vesey is a pretty decent enhancement guy, so the stuff like with him looks pretty good. And then Don Saunders is like he was not Ed Siegel or anything.
He was
He,
not the
he
worst
was
wrestler we've ever seen of all time
no
this week.
no he was amusing to watch sell at least.
Huh. Um, so I wrote that Bobby and Tommy stole the Rock and Roll's finish and used it as a transition move. They did the double drop kick, and I was thinking, okay, well, like I know the Rock and Rolls come back, but they may not know the Rock and Rolls come back. Seconds after they did that, we're informed that the Rock and Rolls are on their way back into the territory.
Well, you
The
see, the Rock and Roll Express have trained that technique to make it an effective finishing move when they do it. It's just it's more like a jab when the Fantastics do it, but when the Rock and Roll Express does it, it's like a haymaker.
it's like Shawn Michaels doing a super kick versus the Young Bucks.
Exactly, exact same
Yeah.
principle.
So you're telling me if the Fantastics do like 30 double drop kicks with a match?
Maybe.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to turn this into a rip on the Young Bucks segment. Um, they did quite well on the pay-per-view. No spoilers. Quite well. So Watts said that speaking of AEW, Watts said the Fantastics are Dynamite. Personally, I thought they were Collision, but he 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 then told us that we're going to see what happened with Jim Duggan and Jim Cornette. I could swear he said we'll see what happened with them next year on Mid South. Turns out he really said next year.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I remember I wrote that I'm like, that's kind of weird that we're holding off till next year. Like, what the fuck? Is the year in
Well,
review show? We're gonna see that.
is that going to be the new Mil Mascaras? We got to wait months for it.
And then Jim Duggan's gonna jump off the top rope. Actually, what would be more preposterous? Duggan jumping off the top rope or Cornette jumping off the top rope? In theory,
Okay.
Cornette, but at the same time, it's Jim Duggan.
Okay, I could be the best terrible booker ever if I wanted to, because it would be so funny to like you'd have somebody win a hair match with like an illegal, like say it's like coming off the top rope, and then they shave the guy's head, but then
Oh my God.
we review it and have to disqualify the other guy.
And you announce the next week on TV, well, after a review, we had to reverse the finish and do a disqualification. Oh my God. So you're going to say he'd be the worst booker because you just keep booking Jim Duggan versus Jim Cornette in a scaffold match. That might be the only scaffold match worse than Rhino versus James Storm. With all due love to Rhino and James Storm, but only one human being thought it was a smart idea to put those two on a scaffold.
And it wasn't either one of them, I don't think.
No. After a 15-minute match that somehow only went 5, Tommy pinned Don with a middle rope splash.
Yeah, it wasn't that inspired, but it wasn't terrible.
It wasn't terrible, but like, man, this was a long 5 minutes, I thought. We then went to New Orleans for a Jim Duggan versus Hercules hair match, but it was Duggan's hair versus Cornette's hair. And Dr. Death, for reasons really unexplained, was the referee. And the logic was that Dr. Death may be pretty much a heel now, but he's friends with Duggan. So they figured those two things combined would equal unbiased comment or unbiased refereeing. Did you notice the barricades at ringside all had signs on them that say barricade?
I did not.
I was thankful for that, just in case you weren't sure.
Yeah.
Now, here's where Cornette has his third legal argument of the night, because Hercules won the match. Now, there were some shenanigans involved, but Doc dropped an elbow on Dugan, and Hercules won. And then, because I'm assuming Jim Cornette was in charge of the payoffs that night, maybe Grizzly was under the weather and he left Cornette in charge of the money. Because I mean, Cornette, if you're a promoter and you're gonna let somebody in charge of the money, I'd put the guy who has unlimited resources at home in charge of it, because he's not gonna skim. Because what the hell does he need a couple extra $100 for? So
I thought you were gonna say you put the guy who knew how to count on the money.
That too. That's a good idea too. But Cornette was in charge of payoffs on this show, and this is where it gets a little fishy, because he may have been in charge of payoffs, but he gave Doc his money in front of everybody else. And like we know in wrestling, the problem is you don't give the payoffs in front of other people, because then you're going to make other wrestlers mad if they get more than they did. But oh well. So the problem is with that, when everyone saw Cornette give Doc his money for the night, I think people assumed that meant that Cornette had bought Dr. Death and there was some kind of shenanigans going on. And so we ended up with a 10-on-3 babyface advantage on the Midnight Express and Hercules, as the babyfaces held down Jim Cornette, and despite Jim Duggan losing the match, Cornette got his head shaved.
I gotta say, Cornette said earlier that he was gonna sue Duggan, and I think he has a case.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think the only way to make it fair is if, as an out-of-court settlement, Duggan should have to get in the ring in Shreveport and get his head shaved.
I agree.
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry.
I guess
I'm sorry, but it's only fair.
I guess I finally figured out why the head shaving match wasn't in the Midnight Express scrapbook. Because it wasn't
technically Cornette wasn't in the match.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you think Doc did with his money off the payoff this week?
Probably paid to have his helmet professionally polished.
You know, every time we discuss this, you get mad at me for making it sound sexual, and then you say things like he paid to have his helmet polished. So, speaking of which, we have the Dr. Death helmet holder, Dr. Death Steve Williams, and the Mighty Hercules without Jim Cornette versus the undefeated tag team of Johnny Mantell and Steve Miller. These two
Steve
have never
Miller.
lost a match. Yes.
Some people call him the Space Cowboy. Some call him the Gangster of Love. Some people call him Maurice for some reason.
So, at one point early on in the match, Mantell shot Hercules in, and Mantell ducked his head for a backdrop, and Hercules ducked his head for a leapfrog, and they just fell into a pile. Watts continued to bury Dog on commentary. Doc ran over Miller and then pinned him with an Oklahoma Stampede.
Mantell in small doses is actually entertaining.
Who?
Johnny Mantell.
Oh, yeah. When we're not seeing him in 10-minute time limit draws every week, he's not too bad.
Yeah, he had the crowd and Watts popping for him here.
Yeah. And unfortunately, though, his record on this show has dropped to 3 wins, 4 losses, and 137 draws.
Too bad.
Yes. So next week, we're informed that Terry Taylor, who is a little bitch, will take on Hercules. And they did not mention whether or not the television title medal is on the line. Is it possible Taylor thinks that every time he defends the medal, he has to put $10,000 on the line or something? Maybe it wasn't explained to him that the $10,000 is only on the line in the tournament.
Well, he should know that because he didn't win the tournament. So he didn't
think so, but the blonde hair dye may be seeping into his brain here.
And you gotta remember that also Terry Taylor's a little bitch and a stooge.
Yes. And if you want to see Terry Taylor wrestle this week, despite being the Mid-South TV champion, he not only didn't wrestle, he wasn't even really on the show, but he is going to be wrestling on TNA tomorrow as he puts on his Bobby Roode robe to take on Kid Cash.
Oh, that sounds tremendous.
Yes, and think about this. Terry Taylor in 2003 is 48 years old. You know who else is 48 years old currently? John Cena and Brock Lesnar.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also John Oliver, which is always funny because John Oliver was born the same exact day John Cena was. But
that's funny.
Still. Yeah. But yeah, you want to tell the difference between 48-year-old John Cena, 48-year-old Brock Lesnar, and 48-year-old Terry Taylor? Listen to the TNA show tomorrow. By the way, the show then ends with a Rock and Roll Express music video, and I don't know why this popped me, but like when it was the Rock and Roll Express video we've already seen before, but it was the one where they're walking through the gates, and when the gate swung open, up came executive producer Bill Watts or whatever.
Yeah, this was these videos are so fucking ridiculous.
Hey, at least we've never gotten the My Way music video again.
Well, we did get the Fantastics like doing that strut in their little Speedos in front of the camera, in front of the pool.
And pointing at the camera.
Yeah, they sure were. I felt lewd.
What is with babyfaces in this territory pointing at the camera? Because Ricky and Robert like to point at the camera too.
Well, they're here to stay. They're not here to play.
Although, to be fair, Ricky might be pointing at it so Robert can know where to look.
It's awful.
You're just going to ignore me on that one. Okay.
No, I laughed and said that's awful. I guess I wasn't allowed.
So it was, pardon me. That was not a bad episode of Mid-South. Again, but this has been a great year of Mid-South. So it's like it's hard for like the okay episodes or even the good episodes to really jump out at you, because
Yeah,
we've had so much great this year.
yeah, it's true.
So from here we head out west, out to Dallas for World Class Championship Wrestling. And let's play the intro and then I'll tell you what I noticed thanks to you. Let's go to Mercer now.
The World Class Championship Wrestling from Dallas, Texas, the Sportatorium, the most famous wrestling arena in the world. I'm Bill Mercer. Great to have you with us, and we have a devastating, explosive main event for this session. It features the brothers, Kerry and Kevin Von Erich, against that devastating, terrible duo, Killer Khan and the Missing Link. In addition, Chris Adams is on hand, so is Jake the Snake, and many more of the world's greatest wrestlers. And we've got an exciting encore match coming up for you. That one features Kerry Von Erich and Killer Khan, and that is a big one too. So that'll be coming up next on World Class Championship Wrestling.
A devastating, explosive main event. Kevin and Kerry versus Khan and Max. But I had to laugh because they showed the still shot or the shot of the ring with drunk Mark Lawrence and David Manning Von Erich in the ring. And then they informed us after the break that no David Manning Von Erich this week.
Now I have to watch and see how long they use that same shot.
Yes.
What's keeping him? Gee, I hope something horrible happened to him.
See, I got my spot in this week on time. Yes. So the greatest sentence in world class history followed the intro. We had an encore match. Fast forward 10 minutes.
Yay.
Then we go to the match that was promised last week. It was Chauncey with General Skandor Akbar versus one Christopher Adams with Gary Hart's comb over. They called Chris Adams a handsome young man, and I wrote that he goes to a bar mitzvah and gets named Most Handsome Young Man. I always laugh because like the Chauncey thing, like I mentioned this last week, it's a total Gary Hart thing because like when Gary Hart was booking, they told us that Bill Irwin's real name was Chauncey, and so the fans would chant Chauncey at him. And then when Gary Hart left, Bill Watts stopped, or I keep saying Bill Watts, Bill Irwin stopped being Chauncey, and now that Gary Hart's back, he's Chauncey again.
That's funny. Well, you were calling him Chauncey the whole time. That was how I knew.
Well, that's because, I was here when Gary Hart was calling him Chauncey originally.
Yeah.
Chauncey.
Bill, at one point, I wrote this line down, referred to two very tired and weary, perspiring young men. And
they were two perspiring young men.
I think that should also be a candidate for episode title, Perspiring Young Men.
I think Mercer has got that one beat later on. We'll get to that though. We're reminded that the greatest show ever in San Antonio is coming soon. I wish we would find out the details about the greatest show ever in San Antonio, but I guess that's coming soon. There could be and this was actually what led to you joining the show last year was when they announced that the world's greatest Star Wars was happening in like 8 weeks. So maybe the greatest show ever in San Antonio is coming in 8 weeks.
Oh, does that mean I'm getting replaced?
I mean, we're maybe adding a third co-host. Who knows?
Is it David Manning Von Erich?
Yes. I reached out to him, and he even said he could get drunk Mark Lawrence off the wagon or on the wagon, whatever you're supposed to do with the wagon.
So this match, can I talk about this match for a second?
Sure. Do you want to shout out to Schenectady, New York first?
No, and I don't want to shout out Minneapolis either. Okay.
Okay.
So
great.
this was the world class TV specialty in that, like, okay, the problem is not the wrestlers, and the problem is not even really the matches. They do perfectly decent TV matches. And some weeks, like, it's even the better of these two shows. But it's like watching 2010's WWE in that there's so much sameness all of the time that it's just really hard for any of it to be interesting. Like, this show is almost always just matches that aren't offensive but are impossible to give a shit about.
Because nothing matters. Like, Chris Adams won this match, and now is next week Chris Adams going to get a match against Gino Hernandez for the American title, or Mike Von Erich, whoever the hell the champion actually is? We'll get to that in a minute. But no, he's not. And it's like, I don't know what happens next week, but if I was a betting person, Chris Adams might wrestle Scott Hogg Irwin. And I'm so upset I even called him Scott Hogg Irwin instead of Scott Hall Irwin. And it didn't help that the finish was screwy here either, because so Adams had the match won with a super kick, but Akbar put Chauncey's foot on the ropes. Then Billiam broke out the brogue kick for the win, but I guess Gary Hart somehow broke it up, and somehow Adams won. And I'm still not even sure how. Either Gary hit Chauncey either with his shoe or the hammer for the bell. Because I thought it was his shoe, but he kind of runs over to where the bell is, and I thought he picked up the hammer.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if it was a gimmick or if it was just a punch or what, but yeah, it was kind of a confused finish. Because, like, I think, like, did Irwin get like a pin counted, but then he was in the ropes, and then so there was a bunch of, and this isn't the end of the fuckery in the refereeing on this show either.
No, Rick Hazard counted 3, and that's why I wrote he won with the brogue kick, and I guess, well, maybe not. Because after he counted 3, he realized that wasn't the finish, and so he just ignored it, and then Adams won somehow.
Rick Hazard is no Nick David Manning Von Erich.
Nope, he's no Nick Manning either. I don't even know who Nick Manning is.
Me neither.
So then we get a video of Gino Hernandez trying to cheat to beat Ric Flair. And so Stella Mae, standing up for what's right for some reason, ran in and hit him with a board. Now, do you think Flair went back to the hotel with Stella Mae that night?
I think that Flair would know that was more woman than he was equipped to handle.
Do you think Flair offered to pay Stella's $10,000 fine? Or I guess that's not on this show. So it's okay to hit people with boards on this show.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
How did Stella sneak that into the building also? Because we've established that she is not a wrestler. She's not a licensed manager. So she must be coming in with the fans. And if she's coming in with the fans, why the hell does she have a giant board with her?
Well, clearly she waits until the show is well underway, and then just she waits until they're not really paying attention and slips in. Because she's never in row 8. She's always fucking running from the back of the building.
That's true. She's probably, I mean, it's not what you make, it's what you save. And so she's buying the general admissions seats here, obviously.
She's buying it all, not just barging in.
Yeah. Fast forward to Stella being attacked by Baby Doll of all people during a Gino Mike match. Baby Doll hit Mike from behind, and Gino won with a shoulder breaker? Gino regained the American title? He is your champion?
And that was my understanding.
Well, I say question mark because later on when they plug next week's match, which is Kerry versus Gino, he never mentioned Gino being the American champion.
That doesn't mean anything.
I guess not. But Baby Doll's name in this territory, Andrea the Lady Giant. Now, I think they named her that because Vince no longer lets people get dates on Andre. And so Baby
Yeah,
Doll's going to go
probably.
around winning battle royals on all the territory shows.
There you go.
Yeah. People, like, you've heard the story about Baby Doll, right? Like how she got the job with Tully, or how she got I guess, the position with Tully. And
I
like,
have, but I don't remember offhand.
so the story was like on screen. The story was Tully was trying to find his perfect 10, the beautiful, model to be his manager, and it was a rib on Tully that Baby Doll was chosen because Tully's 5'7" and Baby Doll's like 5'10", and it's hard to explain that nowadays because nowadays no one would bat an eye. I mean, most people wouldn't bat an eye anyway. If like, you had Baby Doll out there with, a Tully Blanchard. Because like it's a lot more acceptable in 2025 to be with a tall, statuesque woman than it was in 1984. In 1984, that's a rib. And people are like, oh, that's not what that was. Yada yada. I'm like, no, that's what it was. It was a rib on Tully because this woman was so much bigger than he was.
It's like tremendous heat, though.
Yes. Yes, no doubt. But like that really wasn't the idea of it going into it.
I think it was
Anywho,
probably both. Like, it's funny, but also that's gonna work.
mhm. So anywho, the Von Erichs ran in to save Mike, and the whole time Kerry had his hand up. And I think it's because Kerry was such a nice guy. He was waving at Gino. Like, hey Gino, how you doing?
Very, very polite, friendly fellow.
Yes. Speaking of that kind of, do you remember when what you call it, like 2005, 2006, the WWE pay-per-view match graphics had a picture of Big Show and he was like the most bored person in the world and just kind of had his hand sticking out like that?
I don't remember. It sounds funny.
Yes. Oh Lord. So we then get oh, actually it's not even our main event, I'm sorry. It's Jake Roberts versus George Weingeroff's penis. So yes, in one corner we have the snake, and the other corner we have Jake Roberts. And
Groff versus Jake the Snake, as the Chiron said.
Jake won with the DDT.
This was fun. They, Weingroff made a very game effort, but in the end, the DDT overcame the penis. And that DDT might have uncrossed Weingroff's eyes.
Well, if Weingroff shows up on Mid-South next week and his eyes are normal, we'll know why.
Yeah.
All right. So now it's time for the main event. It is Kerry and Kevin Von Erich versus, as Bill Mercer called them, the Ghastly Young Things. The GYTs, as I wrote.
Tremendous thing.
And that was the other name that I had for the show, the Ghastly Young Things.
Oh, that's good, actually.
And my pre-match prediction was the match would go 6 minutes and end in a DQ. Approximately 6 minutes in, a battle royal breaks out. Kevin was so concentrated on this match that he was beating up Akbar, who you might remember is not actually part of the match. And the Ghastly Young Things picked up the win, spiking Kerry, and Khan pinned him. And then, and like the greatest thing we've ever seen on this show, Max and Khan were incredibly happy and celebrating their win.
Oh, it was so delightful. I was so happy for them.
You have never seen this much emotion out of Max and Killer Khan before in your life.
Well, they beat the Von Erichs. You don't get to pin a Von Erich unless you're a main eventer and it's Mike and Mike has already beaten you.
And it was pretty clean at the end of the day. I mean, it's not their fault that Kevin was beating up somebody not in the match.
Yeah, it was entirely Kevin's fault that they were able to pull off a devastating double team maneuver to beat poor Kerry Von Erich.
Yes. Poor Terrence. He's a former world champion, and now he's doing the job here to the GYTs.
Oh wow, the some Killer Khan pinned the former world heavyweight champion.
Yes, I'm assuming this means that Killer Khan's going to be challenging Ric Flair.
I would buy a ticket for that.
And they said that he's going to be in, Ric Flair is going to be in the territory next week.
Oh, well, all right.
Yeah. Now, keep in mind, they did not say he's going to be on this show next week, but he's going to be in the territory next week. So, there's a chance we may not see the world champion.
Oh, hope we do.
I guess technically they didn't even say Flair. They just kept saying the world champion would be here next week.
Well, the
like
world
that looking back at it, I don't
could
think
be
they ever actually
anybody.
said. Exactly. But like you would think they would say, oh, Ric Flair's going to be here next week.
Yeah, no, we've talked about this before. If Ric Flair is the world champion and the world champion schedule is to be in Texas next week, but Ric Flair loses the title on Friday to Harley Race, is going to be Harley Race getting on that plane to Texas on Saturday.
Very true, as we've seen
Which
on
happened.
this show before.
Yeah, yes. We saw exactly that, more or less.
Yep. But yeah, that's gonna do it for World Class. I would have been happy if we'd have squeezed a Buck Zoom Hoff match in there at some point too, but you can't win them all, I guess.
Yeah, this wasn't too bad to watch.
Not at all. Not at all. So, did you see Kylie Ray is pregnant?
I had not seen that. Good for her.
Yes. And she is now having to vacate the WWE ID Women's Championship now. So she's an undefeated champion. She's pulling a Shawn Michaels. She didn't want to do a job, and if anybody's going to lose their smile and get injured because of it, it would be Kylie Ray.
You know what? That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that.
Yes, she is a very happy person. And somebody posted on Twitter yesterday, she may not be taking bumps, but she has a bump. Let's see here. Shout out to Kevin Nash, by the way. His heart apparently showed a small amount of scar tissue, which indicates a minor undiagnosed issue from the past, perhaps even as long ago as 20 years ago, and he'll be undergoing a procedure to counteract a bit of an irregular heartbeat. Which is funny because 20 years ago was when he was supposed to do the TNA pay-per-view against Jarrett and ended up in the hospital, and everyone's like, well, he just didn't want to do a job.
So yeah, I bet this was it. We owe him an apology. I bet next week they're gonna find scar tissue on wherever when he couldn't wrestle Chris Sabin that time.
I was gonna say in his neck. That was like that weird ass story where like he was moving and his kid had some weights in a toy box that he didn't know was coming, and this is when Kevin realized that he's rich, so he should pay people to move his crap for him.
Yeah, I'm not rich, and I'm not moving that crap.
Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, here's a match for you. This could be an interesting one. October 4th, Major League Wrestling, Satoshi Kojima versus Bishop Dyer.
I saw that. I kind of want to see that.
That sounds like quite the match.
That sounds like a Lulu.
Yes. And by the way, today is as we're recording this, the 51st birthday of Bob Sapp.
Oh, former IWGP Heavyweight Champion Bob Sapp.
I had a dream once that I was in Japan and I was making out with Bob Sapp in an alley.
Okay.
I swear it was such a realistic dream that like I sometimes have to question myself that did I not really make out with Bob Sapp? I'm like, no, you never met Bob Sapp.
For some reason, earlier today, I was thinking about the part in The Longest Yard when the Great Khali accidentally breaks Bob Sapp's nose. You
Uh,
remember?
it's the Great Khali. There's only like a 50-50 chance that it really was an accident and not just something that they put in the script afterwards.
It's a great part because, like, the couple of things that he says, you have to have subtitled, and there is a point
Yes.
where, like, when the Adam Sandler character shows up in the game, and the Great Khali goes, "I'm glad you are back. Now I don't have to stab you."
Actually, and uh, I forget if I saw this before or after Khali debuted in WWE because like the movie came out in like fall of '05, and then he debuted on SmackDown in the spring of '06. Sandler did an interview where he was like they tried to like get a speech therapist to try to help him out with his English and then realized that there was no use to just subtitle him.
Yes, I knew him from New Japan, so I was
Yep.
yeah.
Well, I wasn't picturing Khali cutting a lot of promos in New Japan.
Oh, that'd be I got to go back and see now if they have like post match comments.
It wasn't like, and please correct me because you're the pure wrestling expert. Wasn't Tanahashi's first Tokyo Dome match a 4-on-2 handicap match against Khali and the
Yes,
and Giants? Uh,
yeah,
was it Giant
yeah,
Singh? No,
yeah.
what's
Giant
his name?
Singh or no, Giant Silva and
Giant Silva.
The Great
Yeah,
Khali was Giant Singh.
yes. Oh God, that's the tag team from hell. Great Khali and the Giant Silva.
I can't remember exactly which four, but I'm guessing it was like Hiroshi Tanahashi, Kenzo Suzuki, Katsuyori Shibata, and Wataru Inoue, probably.
I think you at least got three of them. I don't think Shibata was in it. Honestly, I think it might have been Makabe, but I could be wrong.
It might have been. Makabe's a little older than those guys, so he might have still been on Young Lion duty at that point.
It's just I kind of cackle thinking about that, and I shouldn't. I mean, hey, young. It turned out pretty good for Tanahashi-san. He had some better Tokyo Dome shows than that. But like when you think about the downfall of New Japan in those early 2000s, and people always point out the MMA influence and Inoki's obsession with proving that his wrestlers were the toughest people in the world. I don't know. I think pushing Great Khali and Giant Silva as a team may have helped hurt the product. Although it is Japan, so freak show elements work out sometimes.
And this was also the same time that Inoki was trying to push Joni Lawler. So
Oh yeah, didn't
yeah.
he put her in a match with Chono at the Tokyo
At
Dome?
the yes. China wrestled Masahiro Chono at the Tokyo Dome. That is a thing that happened.
Was it a January 4th Tokyo Dome though, or was it like one of the other Tokyo Dome
No,
shows they would held throughout the year?
it was the October one, I believe. They used to
Okay.
for a while they were pretty much doing one in January, one in May, and one in October.
Yeah. And then it's like when the bottom fell out, it really fell out because like
Yeah.
there was that time I think it was actually the first Wrestle Kingdom show. It did like 12,000 people in the Tokyo Dome,
That
which
was that was a low point.
yes.
That was the nadir before the rebuilding started.
Yeah.
Okay,
'Cause that
I
was when
found it. And I did have 3 out of 4. It was Hiroshi Tanahashi, Kenzo Suzuki, Wataru Inoue, and Yutaka Yoshi.
okay.
Late
So
Yutaka Yoshi.
yeah. um it's only an hour and 10 minutes into the show. I think we're expected to talk more now.
No, we don't
Um
have to. Let's save some for the Smoky Mountain show this week.
I was gonna say, did you have any comments about the semifinals of the G1?
No, because I knew, like, I it was in the past, so I knew what was coming. I just like you can imagine how I would have felt in the moment. It was resignation, but with the understanding that I would have felt absolutely miserable had I been watching it along at the time.
Yeah. Honestly, like and again, I didn't really follow up to a certain point, like what the brackets were of the tournament. So I assumed the finals were going to be Takeshita versus Osprey, or not Osprey, ZSJ. And
Yeah,
like
yeah,
when they
no.
were the semifinals, I'm like, okay, I guess it's going to be Takeshita versus Yota Tsuji. Then I'm like, what? What the hell's going on here? Now, you're going to watch that final one of these days, probably soon.
Yeah.
And there's a moment of that match, and I'm going to ask you about it during after you will watch it, because there's a very controversial finish, in my opinion.
Okay, I'm fucking dreading this.
And then we have the Jinder Mahal holds up the WWE title moment, one of those "this never happened" and then it really happens, because Evil at one point grabs the trophy and is holding it up, and it's like this is New Japan's version of Jinder holding up the WWE title.
Except that they did actually put the belt on Jinder.
Yes.
I
Oh
remember
Lord.
I remember while I was watching that pay-per-view live and I just started laughing.
Backlash. Yeah.
Yes.
It was like And it was like the day after, and this is at the time period, so this is always happening. The day after an amazing NXT takeover Chicago, and then it's like the
Yeah.
next day, the SmackDown pay per view in Chicago, and nobody's giving a fuck about most of the show.
Yeah, that
Oh
was
Lord. Oh well. Jinder Mahal got his WWE title run, and then got a main event on Raw because Tony Khan made fun of him. Do you remember that?
Yes.
It was like they had announced that but this was like grade A trolling, by the way. But they announced the former WWE champion was going to be returning on Raw, and it's like in your mind you're thinking of like the actual good WWE champions, and Jinder comes out. I'm like, that's the best trolling they've ever done. But it ended up being leading to The Rock coming out. But still, I thought it was a tremendous troll job.
That is excellent trolling, yes.
Yes. All right. So yeah, I think we could start to wrap things up here. Hey, it's a shorter show than usual this week. I'm sure Smoky Mountain will go like 3 hours to make up for it. But anyway, buy my book. It is It is the greatest $5 you'll ever spend this week. It officially released next Tuesday the 1st. Pre-order it now, and I will sign it using telepathy.
All
right. Well, and by the way, for those who complain about the first book and the editing being poor, no doubt editing sucked. I actually got an editor for this one. So
yay.
There you go. Yay. All right. Well, Trey, before we go, you want to plug anything?
No.
All right. Well, until next week, thank you all for listening. Hope you all enjoyed the show, and we'll talk to you again in 7 days.
Bye.